Daniel says, "Hey, Derek, thanks for your time. I've been working my ass off for 2 years, working the owner of the company, then called me out in a whole team meeting for things which are not my fault or responsibility and made no sense. He was just in a bad mood. It made me feel like I didn't want to work for him at all, especially given I work more than anyone else. I hate to say it affected my sales calls. Any thoughts on what I should do and how to best deal with the situation?" Well, man, there's nothing wrong with working for somebody else. If you're well compensated and well appreciated, then, that's okay. And, especially the well compensated part. If you're contributing at a high level, you should be well compensated for your contributions. But you should also be appreciated for the things you're doing. And if you're legitimate, if you're a piece of shit and you're saying they don't appreciate me, well, they shouldn't, because you're a piece of shit. But if you're contributing at a high level, then it's really inappropriate, what happened there. So, but I got to say that again. If you're contributing at a high level, then that's really inappropriate, and they shouldn't have done that. And maybe you have a conversation with them about it privately and say, "Hey, this is my perception of the situation, and what you said is, remarkably different than the way that I've been thinking about it. And I'd like to have this conversation with you to reconcile, what I think I've been contributing versus what you seem to think I've been contributing. And we got to close that gap and make that more in alignment. And if not, it's if you don't appreciate me and if you don't acknowledge that these things, explain to me why. And but understand that I probably have to go somewhere else where I'm going to be more appreciated, where my contributions are appreciated." So it doesn't have to be dramatic. Marcus Aurelius had this quote forever ago. Marcus Aurelius said, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to be emotional for you." The quote is something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but that's the main idea. So you don't have to make something out of nothing. It doesn't have to be emotional. It doesn't have to be dramatic to you. Epicurus, or Epictetus, I have to think which, maybe it's Epictetus, he had a similar quote that, if you, without the perception that you have been harmed, you're not harmed. Regardless what happened, if you don't perceive yourself as a victim, you're not a victim. That said, you should be well compensated. If you're hardworking and intelligently hardworking, because if you're a dumb and you work really hard, you might be causing damage to their business. You might be working really hard to cause troubles for them. But if you're a smart person and you're working intelligently on the right things and you're working hard at that, then you're probably contributing significantly, and probably you deserve to be recognized for that in a more respectful way. So you have to be honest about that assessment, and again, maybe talk to your employer and ask them, "Hey, my perception of the situation has been like this, and then I was a little surprised by the words you said. It seems like your perception is different than mine. Help me understand." And if you don't like the answer, then you can leave. And there's nothing more to it. If you're so great, if you're so wonderful and you're so great, then somebody else, if you're not full of in your assessment, then somebody else would be happier to hire you and probably appreciate you. I think the same thing about relationships. Like when men argue with their women, I think, how pathetic. What are you arguing with her about? Like, if she's not happy with you and you think you're so good and she's not happy, then just say, I understand. I wish you thought more highly of me. But since you don't, I'm going to go find a different person who does. I'm going to go find a different woman that does. And if your value is legitimately high, you'll do exactly what you said. You'll go find another woman who thinks very highly of you. You'll have a good life together. Joel says, "Hey, Derek, based on this week's book on being effective, I think it's more important to know what not to do than what to do. How do you filter out these important decisions versus distractions? How do you delegate or eliminate the tasks that aren't important?" Well, I just think of anything that I'm doing. I think, all right, how is this contributing to my goals? And if it's not helping me accomplish a specific goal, I just don't do it. It doesn't have to be more. complicated than that. So if it's, all right, is this the number one thing that would be helping me accomplish my goals right now? No? All right, then I should be doing something different then. What's the number one thing that would be helping me accomplish my, most important long-term goal? All right, let's go do that. Something else to think about. Sometimes you guys ask those questions. I'm not saying you are at the moment, but sometimes people ask me those type of questions looking for an excuse or something. No, go through the 3 sacred questions exercise and have some clarity about, I know who I am, I know what I want, I know who are the right type of people that I'm going to need to be around to be that man, to live my life that way. And just go live it. Go do the things you're supposed to do. Doesn't matter how you feel. If you do the right things for a long period of time, you'll be around other high-quality people that are doing the right things for a long period of time. And you're going to have great results, and they're going to have great results, and you're going to be very proud of who you are, and you're going to be proud of who your friends are, you're going to be proud of each other and your accomplishments, independently and together. Everything's going to be beautiful, man. So there's nothing else. There's nothing else. What's the most important thing? All right, do that. Is something not contributing to your goals? Then don't do it. Say no.
You watch this video all the way through, and that tells me you're dedicated to learning more and earning far above average outcomes in your life. Congratulations for that. But now it's time to take action. If you could have earned those results by yourself, you would have done it already. My head coach has opened up a few spots on his high-demand calendar for an in-person, one-on-one strategy session to help you. On this call, we'll give you the pragmatic advice that you can implement tonight to get laser-focused on the right metrics and leave mediocrity far behind in your past. Click that link right now in the description below and apply for your call immediately. Do it now.